As geopolitical tensions between the United States and China intensify, the Taiwan Strait remains one of the most scrutinized and strategically sensitive regions in the world. While the global focus often centers on surface-level flashpoints, military drills, air patrols, and diplomatic clashes, a more discreet but equally consequential battle is unfolding deep beneath the ocean's surface. Submarines, the silent sentinels of modern warfare, have emerged as a central force in China's efforts to expand its strategic influence, and in the United States' attempt to deter any sudden moves toward Taiwan. Despite decades of military modernization, the Chinese Navy continues to face significant hurdles in achieving true stealth and parity with Western submarine forces. For all its naval buildup, Beijing's undersea ambitions remain vulnerable to the U.S. military's increasingly sophisticated anti-submarine warfare (ASW) systems. These realities are shaping the trajectory of regional deterrence, complicating China's plans, and reinforcing the pivotal role of technology in underwater dominance. From July 9 to 19, Taiwan conducted its annual Han Kuang 41 exercise, an intensive 10-day drill involving 22,000 personnel. This year's focus: countering gray zone incursions, amphibious landings, and maritime blockades. These simulations were not theoretical. They were responses to a steadily increasing pattern of Chinese military activity near the island, particularly since President Lai Ching-te assumed office in May. Viewed by Beijing as a separatist more hardline than his predecessor Tsai Ing-wen, Lai's leadership has been met with a surge in Chinese pressure. Taiwan's military, anticipating potential aggression, has accelerated its cooperation with the United States, incorporating American-made systems in its latest drills. Simultaneously, civilian defense exercises across the island suggest that Taipei is preparing for scenarios that extend beyond traditional military conflict. In parallel, U.S. military leaders have issued repeated warnings. China is actively preparing for a potential armed confrontation over Taiwan. Though war has not broken out, strategic forecasts by the Pentagon indicate that the possibility is no longer dismissed as distant speculation. It is now considered a matter of when, not if. Among the U.S. military's highest priorities in a Taiwan contingency is the early detection and tracking of Chinese submarines. As former U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Ho Chen-tung, a Taiwan-born defense analyst, emphasized, American planners regard China's submarine fleet as a first-strike asset, and a first-strike target. In his assessment, any credible Chinese military action toward Taiwan would begin with the deployment of submarines. Neutralizing them would thus be a key U.S. objective. While China has invested heavily in undersea capabilities, its fleet still struggles with core vulnerabilities, chief among them: stealth, noise suppression, and survivability in contested waters. Recent revelations from Chinese military sources inadvertently confirmed what many experts already suspected. U.S. underwater surveillance networks have effectively nullified much of Beijing's undersea advantage. In 1994, a revealing episode highlighted the technological disparity between the U.S. and Chinese navies. During a regional crisis sparked by North Korea's nuclear ambitions, the U.S. deployed its Kitty Hawk carrier group to the Yellow Sea. There, American anti-submarine warfare (ASW) assets detected a Chinese Han-class nuclear submarine, number 403, by both sonar and periscope sighting. The sub, part of China's first-generation nuclear fleet, was quickly surrounded by U.S. destroyers and aircraft. Unable to dive deep due to the shallow waters, the Chinese vessel was effectively trapped. Its engine noise, measured at 130 decibels, comparable to a fire truck or a fireworks display, made evasion impossible. U.S. forces conducted 7 simulated attack runs over a 60-hour period, using the encounter as a real-world training opportunity. For the Americans, it was a rare moment to test tactics against a live target. For China, it was a sobering illustration of its undersea limitations. In the years since that encounter, China has embarked on a systematic effort to modernize its submarine fleet. The early Han-class subs, often criticized for their loud engines and limited depth capabilities, have gradually been replaced or upgraded. Newer classes have emerged, each promising enhanced capabilities. Type 093 Shan class. Entering service in the early 2000s, this second-generation nuclear attack submarine offers a quieter profile and greater speed. It can deploy YJ-18 anti-ship missiles and land attack cruise missiles, but remains noisier and less advanced than its American and Russian counterparts. Type 094 Jean class. A strategic ballistic missile submarine, the Jean class serves as a key part of China's nuclear deterrent. Armed with JL-2 missiles, range 7,000 to 8,000 kilometers, It mirrors the role of the U.S. Ohio class. However, it is louder, less stealthy, and carries fewer warheads. Type 095 and 096. Under development, these next-generation attack and ballistic missile subs are expected to incorporate improved stealth technologies, deeper diving capabilities, and more accurate weapon systems. If successful, they could reduce the technological gap, but current evidence suggests they are years from deployment. Alongside its nuclear fleet, China also maintains a range of diesel-electric submarines. Type 039A Yuan class, the most advanced conventional sub in China's arsenal, equipped with air-independent propulsion, AIP, allowing it to stay submerged longer. While stealthier than previous models, it still falls short of German and French designs in silence and sensor capability. Kilo class, purchased from Russia, these submarines are known for their quiet operation and modern torpedo and missile systems. Still, they lack AIP and remain limited compared to Western subs optimized for long-range operations. In total, China operates an estimated 60 to 70 submarines. Yet quantity alone doesn't confer dominance, especially when facing a comprehensive U.S. surveillance architecture. What gives the United States its undersea advantage is not just superior submarine technology, but an integrated, multi-layered surveillance network spanning the Pacific. According to a 2023 Chinese military journal, intended for internal distribution, Beijing's naval experts admit that American underwater detection capabilities are formidable and growing more sophisticated. The U.S. has deployed a range of satellite, airborne, surface, and underwater assets that work in coordination. In space, reconnaissance satellites track vessel movements and collect environmental data. In the air, aircraft equipped with advanced sonar buoys, magnetic sensors, and infrared detection patrol key choke points. At sea, surface ships, including dedicated surveillance vessels, provide real-time targeting data. Underwater, fixed acoustic sensors, mobile drones, and autonomous unmanned underwater vehicles (UUVs) create a layered detection net. These nodes, linked via secure satellite and fiber optic communications, enable near-continuous monitoring across strategic corridors, from Japan's Ryukyu Islands to the Philippine archipelago. Chinese military officers now publicly acknowledge this three-dimensional surveillance grid as a serious threat. They note that Chinese submarines, even in peacetime, are regularly detected by U.S. forces, sometimes immediately upon leaving port. This operational reality significantly reduces the strategic surprise submarines are supposed to offer. Should China initiate a conflict over Taiwan, submarines would likely play a key role in enforcing a maritime blockade, interdicting reinforcements, or launching long-range missile strikes. But their effectiveness is contingent upon stealth and mobility, two attributes currently undermined by U.S. surveillance. The early destruction or neutralization of China's submarine fleet could tilt the balance of power before a surface engagement even begins. That risk is not lost on Beijing. Reports suggest that China is working to develop more silent propulsion technologies, improved hull designs, and integrated AI for autonomous navigation. But closing the gap remains a long-term challenge. Meanwhile, the U.S. continues to evolve its capabilities. New classes of unmanned underwater vehicles, such as the Manta Ray, Orca, and Remus series, are designed for long-endurance surveillance, mine detection, and even offensive missions. These platforms further increase the coverage and lethality of American anti-submarine warfare. The geographic choke points in the first island chain, Taiwan, Okinawa, the Bashi Channel, and the Luzon Strait, remain vital to any future conflict scenario. The U.S. has shored up its positions in these areas by expanding access to military bases in Japan and the Philippines, and reinforcing its naval presence in Guam and elsewhere. The Philippines, under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has pivoted toward stronger defense ties with Washington, offering additional basing rights. This, combined with the steady rotation of U.S. Special Forces in Taiwan for training purposes, signals a reinforced deterrence posture aimed at preventing Beijing from altering the status quo by force. China's naval expansion has been impressive on paper, but recent developments point to instability within its military command structure. A wave of purges targeting senior officers, particularly those tied to missile and submarine programs, has raised questions about corruption, competence, and political loyalty. Even Xi Jinping's grip on military leadership appears to be facing internal strain, according to some analysts. Such uncertainty complicates strategic planning. If China's submarine fleet is weakened both by technology gaps and internal disorganization, its role in a potential Taiwan conflict could be diminished. And that, in turn, could reshape Beijing's calculus for how and when to act. In the undersea domain, Where success depends on remaining unseen, China's submarine fleet is still struggling to escape the long reach of U.S. detection. Despite decades of progress and ambitious designs for next-generation vessels, the reality beneath the waves tells a different story. American dominance in surveillance, coupled with a growing arsenal of unmanned platforms and acoustic sensors, continues to constrain Beijing's strategic options. As the Taiwan Strait simmers with tension, the quiet war beneath the surface may prove decisive. Submarines, once seen as the ultimate stealth weapon, now face the sobering reality of being tracked from the moment they depart harbor. And for China, the dream of an undetected strike remains just that, a dream.